Welcome to my channel. Today's story is a chilling reminder of how unresolved trauma and emotional instability can lead to tragic consequences. It's the heartbreaking case of Susan Smith, a young mother whose life unraveled in the most unimaginable way. But before we dive in, let me ask you, can love, loss, and desperation cloud judgment so much that someone crosses a line they can never uncross? Susan Lee Smith was born in 1971 in South Carolina. Her childhood was marked by emotional turbulence. At age 6, her parents divorced. A short time later, her father passed away under tragic circumstances. Susan was deeply affected. She had seen her father as a hero. Losing him created a void that never quite healed. Her mother remarried a prominent man in the community, a person who outwardly seemed stable and respectable, but things at home were far from perfect. Susan's teenage years were marked by inner conflict, loneliness, and unspoken pain. She tried to put on a brave face, staying active in school and trying to fit in. But privately, she was struggling with severe emotional distress. At 13, Susan faced a personal crisis that left her feeling overwhelmed. She tried to cope in her own way, but it was clear she needed help and didn't always receive the support she deserved. As a young adult, Susan began searching for affection in the wrong places. She became involved in several relationships, some with much older partners, and at one point experienced a difficult moment involving an unplanned pregnancy. Eventually, she met David Smith, a former classmate. The two married and had 2 sons, Michael and Alex. But their marriage was unstable. There were separations, reconciliations, and emotional distance. To complicate matters, Susan later developed strong feelings for a new acquaintance, someone she worked with. His name was Tom. Tom was charming and successful, and Susan quickly became attached to the idea of starting fresh with him. But Tom didn't want a long-term relationship, especially with someone who already had children. When he made that clear, Susan was devastated. On October 25th, 1994, everything changed. Susan told police that she had been the victim of a carjacking, that someone had taken her car with her children inside. The entire community rallied around her. Search parties were formed, media coverage exploded, and her tearful pleas for the safe return of her children made headlines. But as days passed, investigators began noticing inconsistencies in Susan's story. Her timeline didn't match. Her statements shifted. And finally, after 9 tense days, Susan admitted the truth. She had fabricated the story. The children were never taken by a stranger. They had been lost in a tragic and irreversible moment, one rooted in emotional despair and confusion. When asked why, Susan explained that she had been overwhelmed and in a moment of deep emotional crisis, made a choice that no one could understand. Authorities later found her vehicle submerged in a lake with the children inside. The truth shocked the nation. Susan Smith was arrested and eventually stood trial. The courtroom was divided. Some believed she was deeply troubled and needed psychological help. Others felt that her actions were unforgivable. In 1995, she was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years. That means she became eligible to apply for release in 2024. Over the years, Susan's story has continued to generate debate. Reports from prison have painted a complicated picture. Some say she's remorseful, others question her sincerity. As for David Smith, he has tried to rebuild his life. He remarried, started a new family, but still regularly visits the graves of his 2 sons. He has never returned to see Susan. And the lake, where this tragedy occurred, was once a quiet place. But after the events, it became a somber site of remembrance. Some even say it carries the weight of what happened there, forever changed. This story is difficult, I know. It stirs up emotions and forces us to think about how fragile the human mind can be. It's not about judgment, it's about awareness, about asking the hard questions. What warning signs were missed? Could this tragedy have been prevented? How can we help others before they reach a breaking point? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Susan deserved life in prison? Or do you believe mental health played a bigger role in what happened? Now safety and awareness tips inspired by the Susan Smith case. Before we end this video, let's talk about what we can learn from this case. Behind every tragic story, there's an opportunity to raise awareness and maybe even save a life. Here are some essential safety and mental wellness reminders that this case highlights. 1. Take mental health seriously, especially in parents. Struggling with depression, anxiety, or emotional burnout isn't a sign of weakness. It's a signal for support. If someone you know, especially a parent, seems overwhelmed, withdrawn, or emotionally unstable, don't ignore it. A kind conversation or encouraging them to speak to a therapist can make a world of difference. 2. Know the warning signs of a mental health crisis. Sudden changes in mood, hopelessness, talk of being a burden, erratic behavior, or withdrawal from loved ones. These are red flags. Don't wait for someone to ask for help. If something feels off, trust your gut and reach out. 3. Normalize asking for help. Society often expects parents, especially mothers, to be endlessly strong and selfless. But everyone has a breaking point. We must create a culture where people feel safe saying, "I'm not okay. I need help." That simple shift could prevent countless tragedies. 4. Report signs of abuse, no matter who the abuser is. Susan's early trauma wasn't just damaging, it was overlooked. If a child confides in you about inappropriate behavior, take them seriously. Don't dismiss it as imagination or family drama. Report it. Intervene, even if it feels uncomfortable. 5. Believe survivors, even when the truth is difficult. Many victims, like Susan, are not believed when they speak up, especially if the abuser is respected or powerful. That disbelief isolates them further. When someone shares something painful, choose compassion. Validate. Listen. Support. 6. Keep an eye on isolation. People suffering emotionally often isolate themselves from family, friends, and community. If someone in your circle seems to be disappearing emotionally or socially, reach out. Your presence may be the lifeline they didn't know they needed. 7. Protect children from emotionally unstable environments. It's vital to monitor the well-being of children who are in the care of adults experiencing emotional distress, addiction, or instability. Check in with the kids. Ask gentle, open-ended questions. Look for signs of fear, confusion, or emotional withdrawal. 8. Don't dismiss trauma, especially childhood trauma. Unhealed trauma from early life can shape everything that comes after. When someone has a history of abuse, neglect, or loss, therapy isn't optional, it's essential. Encourage healing before pain becomes destructive. 9. Empower schools and counselors to act. Teachers, school counselors, and social workers are often the first to notice something is wrong. Make sure schools are trained and supported in reporting and handling emotional, behavioral, and abuse concerns quickly and professionally. 10. Healing takes a community. Preventing tragedies like this isn't just about one person getting help, it's about the entire system showing up. Families, friends, neighbors, teachers, coworkers. We all have a role to play in catching the signs early and offering help when it's needed most. If you or someone you know is struggling, don't wait. Call a mental health helpline. Speak to a therapist. Reach out to a trusted friend or family member. And if you ever feel that a child might be in danger, speak up. You could be their only hope. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is listen. Thank you again for watching, and please share this message. It might reach someone who needs it right now.